Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be going through all of the top performing Crazed Shellbrute teams depending on your resonating level as well as the heroes you have built on your account. We already did a video about this a few days ago, however there have been some updates to the formations and positioning that I wanted to mention in today's video to keep everything up to date. Okay, we'll lead it off by talking about the teams which will do the best if you have a low resonating level. Like let's say your resonating level is below level 700, maybe 600 to 700. This is when the Lightbearer teams will be performing their best for whatever reason, and there are two options for a Lightbearer team. One is using Temesia, and this is like a more recent team that has been developed. The main Freyasto is going to be in front of the Rowan here, and you only need one copy of Freyasto for this team. He's not being used as your carry, he's mainly being used as food that the boss can eat in his gulp attacks. Temesia is a Lightbearer melee hero which we need in this comp. And Rowan is just here to provide energy generation and allow Corrin to stack up his true damage because of enough ultimate cast by nearby allies, and also allow Corrin to get off more damage with his ultimates. So this is a really strong team, and it is doing the best out of all Lightbearer teams for right now. Maybe if your Temesia is not built up, you can try it even with one copy here, but maybe then it might be better to try the other Lightbearer team. And so I'm going to go ahead and take you over to that team, and this one is using Chippy. So Chippy has on his ultimate ability enough damage multiplier to break the shield if he can cast it. The other thing we're doing here is we're actually having the Chippy take the first gulp of the boss, and so that the Frestros have more uptime because they deal a little bit more damage than Chippy, of course, even if they're only at one copy. So again, this is a one copy epic level Frestro type team. All you have to have for this team and the previous Lightbearer team we showed, you need to have Corrin at Mythic Plus because that unlocks his true damage, otherwise your damage is going to be low. And you need to have Smokey at Mythic Plus because he deals a lot of damage when you can get him to Mythic Plus. You don't have to have him, but it increases your damage by a lot. So hopefully you guys have that. And the interesting thing you're going to notice is we have the resonating spell. And before I forget, again, the main Fresto is in front of the Rowan to give him more energy generation to allow your team to cast more ultimates. So Resonating Spell now has been pretty much confirmed to be the best artifact for every team. Even the Lightbearer team, when you're spamming ultimates, Resonating Spell is just going to power up Corrin's damage more than Tidecall would have. So that is why this is the optimal choice. So those are the two teams for Lightbearer, and that works best at a low resonating level. Now when we move on to the teams which will do well, maybe when you get above level 700 resonating level, those are going to be the Wilder Mauler teams. So the Wilder one copy, as you can see here, in the Mauler one copy, I'll show you the Wilder one first. These teams only need one copy of Freyasto to work, again epic quality, because he's not your carry of the team. And over here, for example, we would have the Freyasto Illusion in front of the Smokey, and the main Freyasto in front of the Iron. The Freyastos are here to take the first few gulp attacks of the boss, and then Iron is just here because he's a melee tank, which we're going to need. He completes the Wilder faction for us, and he has a little bit of magical defense shred on his abilities, which will increase Brian's and Lily May's damage a little bit. So that is basically the team concept. In this, you also only need one copy of Brian. Brian is here to break the boss's shield, and he does it effectively even at one copy. You don't need his skill upgrades, for example, Legendary Plus or Mythic Plus. But if you can get him to Legendary Plus, that would improve his damage and also his ability to break the shield. Lily May is your main carry here with the Resonating Spell, and Smokey will also deal a lot of damage if you have him at Mythic Plus, so both of them will be important to have at Mythic Plus. But the other three heroes, Freyasto, Iron, Brian, can work even at one copy here. So that is a Wilder team. Now we're looking at the Mauler team, which is the one copy of Freyasto type team. Again, you're going to use Epic Freyasto to take the boss's gulp attacks, and Mikola is going to have more uptime for you to buff up Lily May, for example, and also Odie and Smokey, who both will be teleported into the front because of the Mauler buff tiles. So this honestly was the best team that I found when I did testing on my viewers account, and I think for a lot of people out there, this may be your best go-to team if you have one copy of Freyasto and if you have your Odie, Smokey, and Lily May invested. Mikola also works here with one copy. Basically, in all the teams where Mikola is used, she works at one copy because she still provides a buff for your team, and then she's going to eventually get gulped anyway, so she's not even going to have that much uptime, and then she has that Honor Arena effect to give you that attack buff, which is really important. So Resonating Spell on Odie is the choice for this team. Let's move on to now a no Freestro alternative. If you don't even have a single copy of Freestro, this is going to be the best team for you if you have a high enough resonating level, because for this team, the resonating level is going to be important. Like above level 700 is really when this team begins to shine, and then this is a very strong team option. So I did show you a version of this team in the previous video, but here we have Iron moved all the way up to the front so that he gets gulped at a good timing. Otherwise, if we have him, for example, in front of Smokey, the timing became a little bit off of the gulp attacks, and it ended up being worse off for the team. Rainier has a charm effect onto Lily May to give her the attack buff, and also he's going to be positioning swapping Smokey into the front, so that we have another hero to take the gulp of the boss, eventually Smokey will still be able to cast his blue aura and get the damage off on the boss, which is all that is important, and then eventually he is going to be gulped and he will then not be providing the buffs for your team. But this is a good option and it does really well. Rainier increases the damage that the boss receives. You have Brian as a shield breaker, can work at 1 copy, and you have Lily May as your core damage dealer, needs to be Mythic Plus or above. Okay, then we have this one, which is the Lightbearer team with no Mythic Plus Smokey. So if you don't have Smokey at Mythic Plus, you're going to notice all the teams are basically running rely on using Smokey because he deals a lot of damage with the Mythic Plus ability. This is a team which can work, and for this team, you literally only need Corin at Mythic Plus. Every other hero here can work at 1 copy. Cassidy for breaking the shield, Mikola for the honor arena, and then the haste buff for your Corin, and then Fresters to take the gulps of the boss. Here we have the main Frester in front of Cassidy, so she can cast her ultimate more frequently for shield breaking, and the illusion is in front of Mikola. Rowan to give energy to your team to cast as many ultimates as possible, and again, resonating spell on your carry, the Corin, who at Mythic Plus will be dealing true damage if you can cast enough ultimates. So those are basically all the different team options other than the overall best teams right now. So the overall best teams are 2, and you can use either of them. One is, they're both Mauler teams. There's a Graveborn team I talked about in yesterday's video, but that is right now doing 1 to 1.5 billion damage on average, less than this all-time top team. So this is the team that I would recommend. But for this team, you'll need to have an invested Freesto. Ideally, Mythic Plus, plus 10 exclusive equipment or above is when he has a big breakpoint and increase in his damage. And then this team will probably be the best for you. Unless you're a very low resonating level, then maybe the Lightbearer comp would still be better. So this is the tried and tested, very top team with Kruger in here. You need to have 2 melee heroes to take the gulps of the boss. One is Mikola and one will be the Kruger here. Kruger basically deals 1 attack and then he gets gulped, and then he pretty much has nothing. He doesn't do anything for the rest of the fight. And that 1 attack can help you break the shield because all of Kruger's abilities have enough damage multiplier to break the boss's shield. Mikola will then survive for until the 2nd gulp, and she is going to provide the haste buff to your 2 Frestos to increase their damage. Also the attack buff from controlling the honor arena. Smokey as well deals his own damage, provides attack buff to the Frestos. The reason why this Mauler comp is so effective and why nothing has been able to rival it, even the Graveborn team, is right at the beginning of the match, the Frestos are immediately teleported and begin attacking the boss. In the Graveborn team, for example, if we had that teleportation, I think that might even be beating this out. But you have to wait for the Frestos to walk all the way up to the boss, which wastes time. And also you end up in a position which is not really optimal. But this is the perfect way to get into the close range of the boss as quickly as possible. And then you have the Lily May here for some more damage. Her magic charms are going to increase the damage the boss receives, and she also deals a good amount of damage herself, like a sub DPS for this comp, even though she deals less than even the Smokey. So that is the idea behind this comp. And then slightly better than that on average is going to be with Seth instead of Kruger. Here you don't want Seth in the same position as what Kruger was because he gets to the boss too quickly. You want to have him all the way over to the left. And Seth does exactly what Kruger does. He just provides a little bit more damage. For example, Kruger in his first attack combo before he gets gulped deals maybe around up to 50 million damage, whereas Seth can deal up to 200 million damage, and that is the only difference. So your whole team is exactly the same. Seth is going to be gulped or Kruger for the whole match, but Seth deals on that first attack combo around about 100 million extra damage. So your team score will be just 100 million, which is 0.1 billion higher, which doesn't really make any difference. And for this, you can have the legendary plus on your Seth. That is more than enough. or you can just run Kruger. It is up to you. And for the Fressers in the back line, you might be thinking, does it matter which hero is in which tile? It doesn't matter whether the illusion is in getting the resonating spell or the main Fresser, because the Fresser and his illusion are both considered heroes. They both have identical stats, and so it will not affect which placement you have them in. I know some people say certain ones do better for them. However, there's nothing to indicate that there is any advantage of putting one or the other in the resonating spell tile, basically. So it's up to your personal preference, whichever one you want to try, basically. So there we have that with the set. And then finally we have the Graveborn test, which I'm going to be doing another follow-up video for this. And this is now, well, this is the new formation I want to try, because now this team has a lot of potential. Basically, Ludovic deals damage which causes the boss to lose HP per second, just like Smokey deals, and is considered like a form of true damage, which deals a lot of damage in endless bosses as well as in Crazed Shellbrute, who has a lot of defenses, and this is basically like an endless boss. Also, you have the attack charms giving to both of your Fressers on the prime carrier tile. You have two melee heroes, Thorin and Nero, who will take the gulps of the boss so that the Fressers will be safe for the whole match and they can just get off their damage. The only problem with this team is that the Fressers end up kind of in an awkward position when walking up to the boss, and also it takes some time to make it to the boss as compared to the Mauler version where they instantly teleport and begin attacking seconds after the fight begins. That is the main issue. This team has a potential of getting close to the score of the Mauler team, but as of right now it is getting 1 to 1.5 billion less damage score compared to the best Mauler team that we just mentioned. But this is a good option, and for example, maybe if you're missing out on some of the other Mauler heroes, or maybe your Lily May is not built up, and for example you have these Graveborn heroes built up, then this is good for you. Although most people that will not be the case. However, if it is, this is something that you can try and definitely is one of the top tier options. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is the faction talents before we end off the video. So for the Maulers, these are for stage 3, these are all the offensive stats you can get. This health logo actually does give you energy on hit, which is a bit of a valuable stat, and so that is why I upgraded that, and that is a Mauler tree. For the Graveborn tree, these are the ones you would want to upgrade for stage 3. The other two upgrades here do not provide any more damage, and you're just looking for damage right now because you don't have any ability, like difficulty surviving. This skill upgrade would only matter if we could get any kill on an enemy, and we're not getting any kills during the boss fight, and so this is not ever going to activate, and that is why it is not actually needed for this comp or for the Crazed Shellbrute. For the Wilder tree, you're going to want to upgrade everything on the left because these are offensive, and everything down the middle, even the major skill upgrade, because all of these are going to increase the damage of the Wilder faction. The ones on the right are all going to be defensive options which are not needed for this boss. So that is what I would recommend, down the middle and on the left. For the Lightbearer team, you're going to want to go on the left, and because these are going to be offensive stats, you're going to want to go down the middle, but don't upgrade the final node. The final node only comes into effect when your hero dies, and in this boss fight, your heroes are not going to be dying unless you're at a very low resonating level, in which case your whole team will wipe and this will not even trigger anyway. So you'll just go up to this skill upgrade in the middle, and on the right side you'll want to try to get this penetration skill upgrade if you can. But if you're limited, then just go down the middle to this skill upgrade and go down the left to this attack upgrade. Those are the most value offensive stats, and that is pretty much it for all of the different 4 factions that we mentioned. So hopefully this gave you a good idea of what team you can try for the remainder of the Primal Lord Crazed Shellbrute. If you can get a higher score, it will give you a bit more chests for each of your attacks, and so that is why this is kind of important. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and good luck getting a good score on the Crazed Shellbrute Primal Lord. If you want to join my AFK Journey Discord server, there's a link to that in the description of this video. But until the next video, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching.